Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum slammed Trump's tariff threat yesterday, suggesting her country could retaliate with its own tariffs. She also claimed migrant caravans are no longer reaching the border with the United States. The comments were made during a press conference yesterday in which Sheinbaum read from a letter she sent to Donald Trump. She said, quote, allocating even a fraction of what the United States spends on warfare toward peace building and development would address the deeper drivers of migration. Sheinbaum went on to blame the United States for its role in drug trafficking, saying, quote, 70% of the illegal weapons seized from criminals in Mexico come from your country. Tragically, it is in our country that lives are lost to the violence resulting from meeting the drug demand in yours. President Sheinbaum of Mexico in a letter to Donald Trump.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the president of Mexico, Miss Claudia Sheinbaum, who was talking a big game against President Trump after he came out here and threatened tariffs against Mexico and Canada over their refusal to control the border. Now, normies in the mainstream liberal media tried to make it look like Trump was unhinged and that he was just saying things, he was just threatening Mexico for no reason. No, that's not the case. Okay, Mexico and the Biden administration had worked out a deal to have Mexico prevent the illegal immigrants from coming to the border. And the whole purpose of that, of course, was to try to help out Joe Biden and the Democrats. Now, Trump is saying, no, Mexico, okay? Just because Biden is not going to be in office anymore, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing your part to help with the illegal immigration problem that is affecting the United States, especially considering how they're coming through your country. So Trump preemptively came out here and basically said that, hey, if you don't do more to crack down on the migrants crossing the border of Mexico into the United States, then, yeah, you're going to get hit with crippling 25% tariffs. Now, the mainstream liberal media essentially took the side of the Mexican president, okay, the treasonous media, because they hate Trump, right, in which they basically cheered on the Mexican president saying that she would do retaliatory tariffs in response to Trump's tariff threat.
CNN's Rosa Flores is in Houston for us now. Rosa, how is Mexico responding to what we're hearing from the incoming Trump administration about how they plan to crack down on the border and carry out these mass deportations?
Well, very sternly, as a matter of fact, Mexico's president held a press conference this morning in response to President-elect Donald Trump's threat to impose tariffs on Mexico, actually. But Jim, as you know, all of these things are intermingled. Mexico's president was very firm. She called out President-elect Donald Trump, saying that both Mexico and the United States collaborate on a lot of different levels, including economically. And in other words, she said that she's ready to respond in kind. Let me read to you a portion of that letter that she sent to President-elect Donald Trump. She said, quote, President Trump, neither threats nor tariffs will solve the issue of migration or drug consumption in the United States. Cooperation and shared understandings are required to face these important challenges. Imposing one tariff would mean another comes in response. I'm going to read that one more time because these are very important words from Mexico's president. Imposing one tariff would mean another comes in response, continuing like this until we put shared companies at risk. Now, the tone of this letter is very important because Mexico's president is not just talking about tariffs, about the economic relationship with the United States, but also the border relationship with the United States, because Mexico has done a lot to help the Biden administration control the migration that is coming into the U.S. southern border.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, the Mexican president was talking big game, talking tough. Yeah, we're going to hit you back with retaliatory tariffs if you tariff us. Now, smart people, thinking people, realize that the Mexican president was full of shit, right? That she's not going to win a trade war with the United States, okay? That we can crush her economy with these 25% tariffs, and an in-kind tariff back against the United States is not going to have the same effect. Yes, would it hurt us? Yeah, but it will hurt Mexico even more. This is why Justin Trudeau flew down from Canada after Trump threatened Canada with tariffs, because he was smart enough to realize that, we could come out here and talk a big game and talk about how we're going to tariff Trump back. But we know ultimately at the end of the day, the United States would win because we would hurt more, right? Our economy would collapse before the United States would collapse. So it's not a win situation, right? We cannot win from threatening tariffs in response to Trump's tariffs. It is better to come to the negotiating table and to figure out a deal that works best for both countries. And now all of a sudden you have the Mexican president, as she was doing all that virtue signaling to her country and the liberal media and the Democrats here in the United States of America about how strong she is, how she's going to stand up to Trump, right? Now, like all foreign leaders tend to do, right? She is folding to Trump.
Ahora, el presidente Trump ha hablado de deportaciones masivas. Por supuesto, nosotros no estamos de acuerdo con ello y por eso siempre defendemos. Nosotros no estamos a favor de estas deportaciones. Pero si se llegan a dar, porque no todo depende pues, de lo que nosotros decidamos, vamos a recibir a los mexicanos y mexicanas que lleguen a nuestro país y vamos a solicitar a Estados Unidos que en la medida de lo posible, pues los migrantes que no son de México puedan llevarlos a sus países de origen. Y si no, nosotros podemos colaborar a través pues, de distintos mecanismos. Ya habrá momento para hablar con el gobierno de Estados Unidos si realmente ocurren estas deportaciones. Pero aquí los vamos a recibir, y los vamos a recibir bien y tenemos un plan que ayer dije que en su momento lo íbamos a presentar.
Yeah, so you see, now you heard that. The Mexican president, who was acting all big and bad and tough when Trump threatened the country with 25% tariffs, now is coming out and saying, hey, you know what? Those mass deportations, we don't agree with them, but we're going to cooperate. We're going to cooperate with the mass deportations. We're going to take back the Mexicans and the others, the people from other countries. We're going to ask that the United States try to deport those people to other countries first. But if they can't do it, then I guess we'll cooperate when it comes to that as well, too. Now, this is important. This is very important because this is not what she was saying just a month ago, again, when she was acting all big and bad. She was trying to seek a deal with Trump to avoid the very thing that she just came out and said that she would do, okay, which is to avoid deported migrants from other countries. And why is this important, guys? Well, it's important because countries like Cuba and Venezuela, they do not accept deportation flights from the United States of America. Okay, we don't have any real relations with those countries. So it's hard to deport illegal immigrants directly back to Venezuela due to the fact that they just are not going to cooperate, which, you know, in my opinion, I think that's an act of war, to be honest with you. Okay, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I've said this before, and I will stick by this. Okay, if there's a reason to declare war on a country, it is them refusing to take back their illegals, to take back their criminals and their gang members, because that is a direct threat to this country, right? I mean, that is what we have a military for. I honestly would skip Mexico. I would go straight to Venezuela and say, okay, well, if you don't want to take back your illegals, then we're declaring war. And that's it, right? And it will be the most justified war that we participated in since World War II, okay? It will be 100% justified because the Venezuelan illegal immigrants are a direct threat to this country, okay? And Venezuela is facilitating them coming into this country, causing havoc and destruction and destroying the lives of the American people, right? So it would be 100% justified, okay? But going through Mexico is a viable path due to the fact that these countries will be more likely to accept deportation flights from Mexico versus the United States of America. Okay, so that is why this is important. Now, this comes as you have other leaders of these Latin American countries. A lot of them tend to be women, right? Again, we have a pattern here, okay, of these women thinking they can stand up to Trump, okay? But you have the president of Honduras. She's acting all big and bad, talking about how she will expel the U.S. military from the country if Trump carries out the mass deportation. Let's read here. Honduras' president threatened to push the United States military out of a base it built decades ago in the Central American country should President-elect Donald J. Trump carry out mass deportations of undocumented migrants from the United States. The response by President Xiomara Castro of Honduras in an address broadcast on television and radio on Wednesday was the first concrete pushback by a leader in the region to Mr. Trump's plan to send back millions of Latin American citizens living in the United States. The threat came as Ms. Castro and Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum also called a meeting of foreign ministers later this month to address the deportation issue. Quote, faced with a hostile attitude of mass expulsion of our brothers, we would have to consider a change in our policies of cooperation with the United States, especially in the military arena, Ms. Castro said. Quote, without paying a cent for decades, she added, they maintain military bases in our territory, which in this case would lose all reason to exist in Honduras. Yeah, so here's the thing. I think that Trump should call this woman's bluff, right? I don't think that this woman actually wants to kick out the U.S. military, right? She's not going to do that. And even if she did, right, I'm one of these people where I'm like, you know what? That's cool. That's fine. If they want to kick us out, cool. In Honduras's case, they can do just fine handling the drug cartels and the narcotic operations in their own country, right? They can take care of that. They can spend their own money doing that. The humanitarian missions and all that stuff that we typically do, right? Like giving medical aid, disaster relief, infrastructure improvements, stuff like that. Yeah, we can stop doing that too. We can also stop with the hundreds of millions of dollars in aid that we give to Honduras, which, you know, we do give 125 million in aid to them to support their economic development. Yeah, we can scrap all that and then we can slap them with a 25% tariff, right? Just like Mexico, since they want to play games. Right? Since they want to talk tough, because that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. So I personally think that this woman, just like the Mexican president, is going to fold, right? She's just trying to seem like a tough person, right? Trying to stand up to Trump. I'm standing up to Hitler. But ultimately, at the end of the day, she's going to fold and she's going to capitulate just like Trudeau did, just like this Mexican president did, just like NATO will do, because ultimately, at the end of the day, these people know that Trump is not playing around. Trump is not playing games. I mean, Trump has gotten us to the point now where there are somewhat serious conversations about things like, for example, buying Greenland, right? The United States of America buying Greenland off of Denmark due to their abundance of natural resources and the fact that Greenland is a strategic military position, right? Location, due to their proximity when it comes to China and Russia. Russia and China have been basically operating in the waters off of Greenland, and Denmark has not done a great job at protecting Greenland from Russia and China. And yeah, it's of strategic interest for us to maybe take Greenland off of Denmark's hands. And that is why Trump brought that up, right? And now, lo and behold, all of a sudden, at the mainstream level meeting, say, oh, that's ridiculous. That's nonsense. I don't know, man. The prime minister of Greenland has come out and said that they want independence, right? They want independence.
Here in Greenland, we need to have some growth. We need to have some economic growth and diversify our economy. And of course, we welcome our strong partners, like-minded nations as first. But if they don't invest, there's a lot of companies who also want to invest in this country.
Yeah, so as I told you guys, Trump wasn't just saying that to be saying it, right? He's not some crazy guy that's just throwing out insane ideas, right? That's not what's going on here, okay? People got to understand that Trump likes to negotiate in public, okay? When Trump is dealing with foreign policy, and this is why I love Trump when it comes to foreign policy, okay? This is the best part of Trump's presidency, to be honest with you, is how he deals with other countries. I love it. He knows that, okay, with the Arctic melting, there are trade routes that are opening up in areas where trade was not available, right? The trade routes were not existent, okay, due to ice being in the region. That is opening up. And you also have China/Russia cooperating in that area, which is of U.S. national security concern. And again, because Greenland is technically the territory of Denmark, it's up to Denmark to defend those waters. Right? And after Trump said what he said about purchasing Greenland, lo and behold, what does Denmark do? Denmark boosts Greenland's defense after Trump repeats desire for U.S. control. You see how that works, guys? You see how that works? And this is what the mainstream media won't cover. Trump's not even in office yet, and he's already making whole countries step up their defense just because he wrote on Truth Social that, yeah, the United States, maybe we should think about taking Greenland off the hands of Denmark, right? Now, all of a sudden, you have them actually pulling their weight, doing what they should have been doing anyways. Now, all of a sudden, you have the prime minister coming out and saying, yeah, we kind of want independence, right? We kind of want to get away from Denmark. Now, I don't think that means they want to join the United States of America, but I'm just saying, when Trump speaks, when Trump talks, things happen, right? We also are having serious conversations about maybe having Canada join the United States as another state, which I personally don't think would be a great idea, but I do think that it would be a good idea to economically cooperate with Canada even more, right? To basically become like, I don't know, a union, like an EU type of deal going on. Who knows? Maybe that could be something we can look into. But again, because of Trump, there are now serious conversations about opening up some of the economic opportunities between the United States and Canada.
House Speaker Mike Johnson has already been nominated now to be House Speaker. We're watching what's happening on the floor. Now, President-elect Donald Trump has also now floated the idea of a U.S. expansion, specifically with Canada. Kevin O'Leary says the idea of an economic union between the two countries has gotten some traction with the Canadian public. He's back now. So, Canada, no one actually believes Canada would become a state of the United States. You know, we have the USMCA. What are you talking about here, an economic union?
No, they don't want to give up their sovereignty, but they really find an economic union more attractive by the minute as the world changes, obviously. Strength through economy, through economic strength is very, very powerful. And so the low-hanging fruit would be a common currency. That means you'd be merging some of the functionality of the Bank of Canada with the Fed. Maybe you give a couple of seats on the Fed to Canadian bankers. But, you know, there's a way to work that out because all of the trade, goods and services, particularly commodities like energy, are denominated in USD around the world anyways. And so we would be signaling to the world that we are a very powerful combination of economies and basically don't mess with us, particularly the Chinese.
Now, you've said you would negotiate. Have you spoken to President Trump about this? And it's interesting about
not yet, but
the currencies.
Well, I mean, this is an idea. The thing about Trump, he throws out very bombastic messages, and sometimes through the cracks come very good ideas from it. And this is the one that people are starting to focus on.
Ding, 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 ding. That's exactly what happens. Kevin O'Leary is perfectly describing how Trump negotiates, right? He'll say something that seems off the wall. Oh, we need to purchase Greenland, right? But the point of him saying that is to force Denmark to actually, I don't know, do their job, right? To step up and to defend the waters around Greenland from China and Russia, right? That's the whole point, okay? The whole point is to force foreign countries and leaders to take actions that are beneficial to the United States of America. We already went over what happened with Mexico. Look at what happened with Canada. The man's already president, right? He's already president. This is amazing.
Combining economics together. There's something else that I'm going to appeal to Trump on, or at least ask him to consider. You know, these ministers he's meeting with from Canada and Justin Trudeau, they're about to be wiped off the face of the map in an election. You saw the red wave occur in the U.S. that put Trump in a date. That's about to happen in Canada with even more momentum. He's very unpopular. Canadian people don't want him representing them. And so I would ask President-elect Trump, why don't you wait on all of these ideas until the Canadians have had a chance to elect their new leadership so that you're dealing with somebody, a leader, that has the same mandate you do, 4 years, because you can't get this stuff done overnight. And at the minute election is called in Canada, there's a chance, the polls are brutal. This is a parliamentary system in Canada. This Liberal Party is going to get wiped off the face. They won't even be the official opposition. So why waste your time talking to them?
Yeah, so I'm interested, you go back to the Prime Minister's use of the Emergency Act that allowed the government to freeze personal and business bank accounts over this trucker strike that happened in 2022. As they're upset about the COVID lockdowns, which we know now basically didn't work. A Canadian judge this week ruled that the use of that act was unreasonable and infringed on constitutional rights. Is that where Trudeau lost public opinion, do you think?
No. The metrics of the country that affect every individual Canadian regarding their politics are things like GDP per capita, debt per capita, foreign outflows of capital per capita, the Canadian dollar versus other international currencies. During the Trudeau mandate, he has lost 41% of the value of the country. People are tired of him by every measure. That was just one drop in the bucket. To say, it's gone beyond pissed off. They just want an election, and they will wipe him right off the face of the political landscape in Canada. So I appeal again to President-elect Trump, don't waste your time.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a waste of time to deal with Justin Trudeau. I think the reason why it's not a waste of time is because with Trudeau, he's weak, right? So he's in a position of weakness. And from a position of weakness, Justin Trudeau is probably more likely to make a lot more concessions to Trump that will basically be a starting place for negotiations with the new administration. And I think that's the whole reason why Trump is putting Trudeau through this humiliation ritual, is because Trump is smart enough to understand that this guy is not going to be in power for too much longer. I think Trump is having fun, basically, making this guy seem very small and tiny. But outside of that, again, I think that it just sets him up for negotiations with the next administration. And I think that's just kind of where he's at, right? And, again, it's kind of crazy to see all this stuff happen in real time and how the media is not covering the power that Trump is already wielding. And he's not even in White House yet. He's not even in office. Again, we've never seen anything like this. Never seen anything like this. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.